Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're here with Brian Earnest. He is the lead economist for animal protein at CoBank. Thanks for being with us today, Brian. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Thank
Very
you.
good. Yep. And today, Brian and I are in Des Moines, Iowa at World Pork Expo here in the United States. So you just put out a new report, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to start with you giving us just a few highlights from a domestic standpoint for here in the United States.
Yeah, sure. So, we kind of look at all different facets of animal protein and kind of what's going on in the category. And, big ticket items are large trends that are occurring. And we've seen this in the pork industry where, historically they've leaned a little bit stronger on export markets for disappearance and kind of struggled in some aspects of the domestic demand. Bacon is kind of one of the top consumed pork items. I've been kind of thinking over the last year of, is there potential reimagination of the consumer for pork. And really what's driving this is I think the consumer is looking at animal protein in a new way too. There's this stronger demand and drive towards animal protein as really a highly nutritious item. And it seems like what consumers are coming to the animal protein for, they're looking for kind of new and exciting things, new flavors, new ways of cooking and that. So, overall, it just seems like kind of the perfect time for pork to really kind of come to the consumer with something maybe a little bit different. So.
Interesting. Very great. Very good. Why has pork consumption in the United States remained flat over 5 decades, while chicken and beef have seen steady growth?
I think this is one of those interesting things that you think about when you look at the meat case in general at retail. Right. Sometimes pork struggles for, I'd say, various different reasons. One of those, you look at the kind of the larger roast type items that we see at the meat case. Another is the pork chop. You think back 20 years ago, the marketing campaign there was thinking about comparing it to chicken, and for that lean content, quality, and the highly nutritious. And consumers, I think they kind of had this maybe mixed signal of how hot to cook the temperature of pork. Right. And the pork chop, it's just been very difficult to cook that perfect pork chop. So, right. I think there's some opportunity there to re-engage with the consumer in a different way. So it's encouraging to see a new marketing campaign that focuses on the good things that pork can do for the consumer as well.
Brian, how is the National Pork Board's Taste What Pork Can Do campaign expected to shift consumer perceptions and behavior, especially among younger demographics?
Sure. Well, I think it's an exciting term and phrase. Is taste what pork can do. I think they're what I'm seeing kind of in the early stages of what they're trying to accomplish is try and fit flavor profiles of pork in kind of new ways. We primarily are thinking of bacon or kind of pizza toppings as some of the drivers. We've seen that in the markets with pork 42s and 72s had pretty strong market momentum through COVID as people were eating more pizza and that sort of thing. Now it's time to think about, well, what are some of the other offerings? I think fitting that younger demographic, they've gravitated towards beef, for various reasons. One of those, though, that I think is kind of the flavor profile, and that we associate with the fat and the marbling that they're seeing in beef is really kind of that premium item. I think there's maybe some trade-off that we could see with pork where they kind of look at, why are folks willing to pay that strong premium for beef? Right. Is there an opportunity there for maybe from a genetic standpoint or the different cuts and offerings there? I think it's fascinating to see that, the industry as a whole has this opportunity to kind of reimagine, what different cuts we're going to get out of pork and that sort of thing.
Very good. And you touched on my last question here. What role do genetics and production practices play in shaping the flavor and consumer appeal of U.S. pork?
Well, it does seem like there may be an opportunity there when we think about, the fat content in the animal protein space. We know chicken's still going to be kind of the lean animal protein. Pork is kind of fit in between, maybe in the middle space, whereas beef offers that kind of flavor profile with the marbling in it. Maybe that's an area of focus from a genetic standpoint that we see some kind of emerging, brand recognition or something like that from a premium out to kind of draw that premium. We know beef undersupplied from a demand standpoint. and pork, maybe there's an opportunity here for them to slide in as kind of that, next tier of offering a value, but also a premium item as well.
Right. I mean, when I think of a more flavorful pork, I think of Duroc, right?
Yeah.
That's really been branded that way. I mean, do you feel like that's something that producers or the industry is willing to kind of push towards, and not necessarily that just a Duroc pig, but a more flavorful pig? Do you think that producers are really at the point where, okay, we know we need to do something to boost this demand?
Yeah, it seems like over the last 2 decades, the market has really kind of dictated towards this lean hog
Right,
formulation,
right.
and at least consumers are telling us they're looking for something a little bit different,
Yeah.
and certainly, they are starting to recognize different brands, and like the Duroc may be one, or the premium genetic brands that
Right.
offer something a little bit different. I don't think there's a better time than right now, really, for that to come out of the market and show that it can command a premium.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for all the information today, Brian. Always great to see you.
Thank you. Nice talking with you.
Very good. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site.